That's what Lewis does.
I guess. Somebody.
And now,
Here's the host with the most. Okay. Are we live? We're live.
welcome to Anel-a-thon.
Hey, everybody. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do how Lewis does it. I don't know how he does it. It's so hard to introduce yourself, right?
I don't know.
Hey, everyone. I'm Paul. I'm fixing a MacBook. Let's do this shit.
I'm a headless Paul.
Headless Paul.
Headless Paul.
Get down. Stoop to my level, Paul. Doo-doo. All right, so Lewis has been pestering us to do a stream, get some videos for the channel. So what more to do it than a 7-hour Anel-a-thon?
That's right, Anel-a-thon, brought to you by store.rossmangroup.com. Store.rossmangroup.com, where you can get chips,
Flux. I think that's it. Attons.
soldering stations,
Stuff.
Store.rossmangroup.com. Store.rossmangroup.com. Go now!
All right. So, I'm buying Flux right now. Let's go. See?
Flux is good to have. Kids! Kids!
All right. Let's grab our first MacBook of the day. It's going to be a spicy one. See if I have... crap. There's Flux all over my tweezers. Hi, chat. Getting our preliminaries in order. Clean tweezers or happy tweezers? Okay. That's out of the way. Close the door and we can begin. Shoot. Is this it? Yeah. Alright, cool. Hey everyone. Today I'll be working on a 2141 MacBook Pro. It is the 16-inch. It came in for liquid damage. I'm going to see if I can open it up, fix it, and put it all together, test it out, all in real time. So without further ado, let's get started. On our overhead cam, I put a label here so you guys don't have to dox the customer, you know. Okay, so this came in because of a coffee spill, and I guess you can already see where the damage is. Let's turn this on. There we go. So hopefully this is fixable, but, you know, not everything is fixable. Let's go to our microscope, and I'll show you the damage, which is mainly on the CPU MOSFETs, right about here. Now, most of the time, this doesn't end well. It sends PP bus directly to the 1-volt line, powering the CPU, and that's not really replaceable because you need a $5,000 Xiaomao and a good part, which Apple does not sell. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take apart the board and see what else is damaged, and then see if we can address what's going on with this board. T5 and a T3. Awesome. Pre-recorded stream? What do you mean? This is all done live and in real time. shoot. Me being a noob, I don't know where all the T5s are. My rings don't get in the way. I like them. They're really flashy. Some of them spin. It's a good time waster. Thank you for the kind words, Thomas. I'm going to try to stream more often since Lewis is doing right to repair stuff and most of our employees don't like being on camera. You look ridiculous, Paul. Hey, if this isn't fixable, it's going straight to your queue. Just saying. If Lewis can do it, so can I. Alright, so now that we have all this... No, we don't have them all. So it's 4 more, right? Yep. I really don't like 2141s. There's too many screws, too many shields, so many ribbon connectors that are placed so awkwardly on the board. It's a real pain in the ass for techs to work on these devices. Or even people trying to fix their own stuff. Mainly with this cable right here. It is very fragile, and we've seen people who take apart their machine and that cable would be ripped. And that's for keyboard backlight, where half their keyboard will not light up anymore. And because this machine is still pretty new, it's hard to find replacement parts. And you'd have to take from a dead machine most of the time. Just gonna unclip every single connector on this board. Now, Paul complains a lot that you need to remove these 2 corner pieces to remove and place back the logic board. And I want to prove him wrong. He does not... He does not like the way I do it, but I say, like, I have no issues taking apart this board with that in place. This board is a 2141 16-inch MacBook Pro. The only 16-inch MacBook Pro that they ever made. Okay, so all the connectors are out. I'd like to lift the board up slightly over here. Then I can... I forgot this one. And the Wi-Fi cables. If you feel any resistance when taking out a board, it's probably because something else is still connected. So be sure to double check everything before you pry up against your board. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now with this board out, lift up some of these cables. And it lifts straight up, and then the rubbers are stickered on. Okay. Oh, forgot the screen's still connected. There we go. Boom. See, Paul? Easy. Yeah, there's a lot of cables on this machine. And you're going to see, if I get to put this back together, how much of a nightmare it could actually be. So we're going to put this MacBook aside and start working. Oh, crap. All right. So we're just going to do a visual inspection, see if anything else on this board is affected. And it does not seem to be with the naked eye. So it looks like our only troubled spot is that CPU MOSFET area. Again, I'm going to demonstrate with the board. I'm going to run it through with you guys. Okay, and here's the back of the board. You see that mainly liquid did not get on any of these components. Usually they end up here in the corners, but they're not. Backlight circuit looks fine. ISL circuit, pristine. GPU, CPU regulator, again, clean as a whistle. T2 stuff. That's some thermal paste, I guess from the silicone mat. Speaker stuff, SSD stuff, all clean. And on the front of the board, more SSD stuff. Charge port, power button, clean. 5-volt regulator, clean. CPU MOSFETs, not clean. So first things first, I'm going to... Is this set up? It didn't work. Paul, if you're watching the stream, please help me fix Paul Daniels' software. Oh well, okay. In the meantime, I'm just going to... Oh, I made it worse. I killed everything.
There's a delay in case you curse.
There is?
Oh, okay. You're pressing the left arrow.
Alright. How do I,
How do you multimeter?
How do I multimeter? It's that far right middle.
And on here?
Right there. Multimeter tar. But it don't show up.
Why isn't it showing up?
Because Paul Daniels software. RS. Yay. Thank you. There we go. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to measure if our PP bus is shorted. As a clear indication that those MOSFETs are bad. And they are. Okay. So, what we're going to do is, I assume that, you know, since this is the only thing that's liquid damage on the board, that's what's causing the short on PP bus. And hopefully the CPU is not affected, but about 90% of the time they are. So let's give it a shot. See if this MacBook is a $2,000 paperweight or a working device. Back to our microscope. Again, it does look really, really bad. Alright, and we're going to add some flux. See if we can combat this. What? Oh. Man, this fume extractor is like 9 miles away from the desk, but there we go. And let's get started. I'm gonna heat up the area. Clean off some of that corrosion. I'm going to start taking parts off the board until our short's gone. Alright, that's one MOSFET gone. that's 2. Alright, and we're going to measure if our PP bus is still shorted. And it seems that the short's gone. And now we're going to check if our CPU is shorted, which should be unfortunate. Let's see if we can open the schematic and board view. Let's close that out. Okay. So what we really want is to check, I guess, these. Alright. Yeah, probably around these pins. What's up? Oh. They were overlaid on top of each other, so I tried closing the schematic part of it, thinking that would work. Oh, it doesn't show. I think you gotta reopen it. Oh, even better. I think you gotta reopen board view.
What the hell?
Yeah, I think I ruined it by closing the window.
You dickered it all up.
Uh-oh.
Change back out of it.
Microscope.
Now back into it.
Board view.
God damn it.
Oh, I ruined it.
You ruined it. Why is it giving two board views? Not board views.
Call technical service department. Hi. Okay.
That works.
Yay. Alright, so I'm going to measure all these lines. Hopefully they're not shorted. And these lines if they're not shorted as well. That's good. That's good, I guess. I'm not making good contact. No, we're good. Next. We're fine. We're fine here. This one I think is not, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's ground. That's fine. 3, 2, 1. Nice. Wait. Yeah, that should be right. Yeah. Huh. Alright, I guess we look like we're good. Now we're going to measure these, starting from here. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. And I think this one's ground. They're good. We're good. We're good. And we're golden. Okay, so maybe this will survive a MOSFET replacement. Let's see if I have a 2141 board laying around here. I do not. Do I? Nope. Okay. So we're going to be right back. Going to grab a donor board, see if that fixes everything. We got one. Okay. So we're going to look at the original MOSFETs. Oh, wait. Microscope. Did they look like there was a hole in them? No, they just had junk. Pretty junky. Alright. So I'm just going to add flux to our logic board. See if we can touch up these components because they do look pretty nasty. Oh, bridging them. Nice. As a good tech should. I'm bridging that one too. Nice. Wick. I think they're connected to each other anyway, but I don't like how that looks. Alright, and yeah, all these caps look fine. Except for this one. This one might fall off the board. No? Okay, so we're good. Yeah. All the passive components look like they cleaned up just nice. See, all their legs are intact and all that stuff. I don't have my chat open anymore. Let's see if I can fix that. Okay. So I'm just going to grab our donor board and get those two MOSFETs. But first I got to unscrew this because it's going to burn in the hot air. I can't fit my tweezers through them, so you're just going to see it off camera. Alright. So bottom right and bottom left are two MOSFETs that we need. Hey, Chip, get off my flux. Bastard. Now, this is a very ground heavy side of the board, so it will take some time for it to heat up, and I could properly take them off. There we go. That's one. Put that aside. And that's two. Alright, I'm just going to add some fresh solder on these top pads. Get this flux in here. Now I don't want to put too much solder because it's going to make the chip act weird putting it on. So I'm just going to put enough just for the pins, as the ground planes have more than enough solder to hold the chip. Ah, crap. This is what I was talking about, putting too much solder. Oh, alright, that cat moved. No problem. Could always just fix that. Alright, and I want to mop up that excess, because that's gonna make the chip not lay flat on the board. Alright, looks okay to me. Anything else, the chip will fix that when I press down on it. Alright, so now we're going to align our first chip, which is the bottom right MOSFET. Wait for it to melt in place, which is about now. I can let go and then it's going to flow into place. Like so. And after it's flowed into place, I can press down on it, heat it up one more time, and all the balls from the ground pin should just shoot out, if there are any. Which it doesn't seem to be. And just like that, you have a CPU MOSFET soldered on. Move on to the next one. Again, we're going to line it up. there. Heat the board. Solder's melting. I can let go. Now that it's soldered on the board, I can let it flow into place like so. And now that it's flown into place, I can press down on it and heat it up one more time. Bam. Now we can check. I don't think Lewis's microscope goes out this far. I could definitely try. Nope. Yeah, I can't really see. I can't really show you guys how soldered on it is, but let's say it is. Oh, shoot. Thanks for the donation. Let me read those. Wait, what's going on? I'll talk here with work on the screen. Alright. So now we're going to go back to the overhead, check if our PP bus is shorted again or not. And it's no longer shorted. So with those MOSFETs replaced, I can now see if this logic board turns on or not. Which I don't think Lewis has a 95 watt charger. So this probably won't turn on with just the power plugged in. I can double check that. Let's see. Where does he keep his plugs? Doo-doo. Does not look like a 96 watt, unfortunately. But I can give it a shot, see if this does do anything. I don't think it does anything. He does not have a charge port around here, does he? Alright, I guess I have to plug it into his machine, which is fine. There's no flux on there. Yep. Alright, so moment of truth. Find out if this is dead or not. So let's grab his housing. And I have to show Paul how to properly put this in without the sides removed. So you, first up, you bend up these cables upward so they don't interfere with you placing the board. Alright, with that, you can bend these rubbers. You can slide the first side of the board, which is the left. Lift up the other rubber and slide in the right. Angle sensor. Fan rubbers. All being annoying. Alright, and wiggled right into place, Paul. See, you do not have to remove these corners. Alright, and then we gotta grab this left fan, which is, again, really annoying how they made this thing. And you gotta grab this left fan. Then the keyboard backlight. And then the microphone. Really troublesome computer. Don't know why they made it like this. And of course the touch bar is gonna be uncooperative. Why is it like this? Ah, okay. Alright, and then we can do this side. grab that up. And let me lift this board up a little bit. Get the keyboard out and the trackpad. And that is all the cables of the machine lifted up. Okay. So really what I want to know is, does this turn on with image? So I'm just going to plug in these two things and screw in his battery, because this thing does not turn on off an 85 watt charger unless the battery's plugged in. And I'm going to slide the charge port because I need the charge port. There is a chance that this might be in recovery, but I am not too sure if CPU MOSFETs do that. Some things on the board that get liquid damage, they'll make the T2 turn off, and you would have to revive it. And you get this ammeter. We plug in our power. We take 20 volts. 0.071 amps, 100, 200, 1 amp, 1 amp. Does that mean... Come on. Come on. You can do it, little MacBook. Anything? Nothing. Ah, it turned back off. Darn. Hello. I don't think it's in recovery. It looks like it's turning on, but it keeps power cycling. Let's plug in a fan, see if we get fan spin. Oh, we have fan spin. So this thing might be brain dead, unfortunately, but again, the CPU MOSFETs were corroded. But it does turn on. We were able to fix it. We get this fan spinning. We just don't have any image on the screen, which is unfortunate. Is this like cracked? Or is that like a streak?
This was liquid damage. The screen was liquid damage. Maybe you should try a test screen.
You're probably right. Because it is turning on. I don't have anything on the screen, but the screen...
1707?
Yeah, 1707 would work. Wait, I also need an 95 watt charger because I can't plug in a test screen with the thing outside. Alright, so he probably has a bad screen. Hopefully... Well, this machine is turning on, which is good progress. But chances are there is, if you see a screen, I don't know if it's cracked because you do see like these streaks up here. That could be liquid. Again, I don't know. It doesn't wipe off. This is a really bad looking screen. Okay. New brick. Right here. Oh, am I an idiot? Oh, it is a 96 watt. I am an idiot.
96 watt.
Okay, cool.
Give mine back.
Here, take it. Thank you, Paul. Click. All right. Let's see if we have anything with a test screen. If not, this computer goes straight to the gulag. Oh, I don't have a charge port. I know you have one, Lewis. You keep one around here. He doesn't keep charge ports around here.
Oh, you need a charge port.
It's fine, I'll just take from his machine. That's what Lewis always does. Yoink. Alright. Is charge port clean? Yep. Okay. Just gonna plug this in. And boom. Oh, you guys can't see that. 20 volts, 100 milliamps. 200, 800, 1.6, 1.7 amps. We should have an Apple logo in about 3 seconds. I think. These things boot quickly, don't they? Please.
No image.
No image. Yeah, and it dropped back down. It turned off. CPU was not happy.
Wah, wah, wah.
Oh well, valiant effort. We tried. Well, that's not gonna stop us from moving forward to the next repair. Stuff like this happens. Again, 90% chance that it's a dead board, but on the off chance we hit that 10%, amazing. Nothing I could have done there. All right, I just got crap. Bummer for the first board, but we still have plenty of more to go. Anyway, so we tried fixing a board that had severe liquid damage on the CPU MOSFETs. Surprisingly enough, it did not turn. It did turn on, which is astounding. Usually they don't turn on, but it did not produce any image, meaning the CPU is probably toast. There's no way to avoid that. That's usually a common thing when, CPU takes 12 volts. They don't really like it. So, on to the next MacBook. And as always, I hope you learned something. Is this... Oh, crap. I don't know which one's recording, which one's streaming. I don't want to end stream by accident. I'm just not going to touch it. Alright, just going to move on to the next MacBook. Is it you? You look like the one. You look slightly fixable. I'm going to clean my desk a bit. Paper towel.
If you want to split recordings, just click the button on OBS instead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. This is...
Yeah, because those buttons just go here, so just click the button instead.
Alright. I don't think this is a good one anyway. Stop recording. Clean the desk. Well, we tried. Game face. Let's go. Hey everyone. Today I'll be working on a 1398 15-inch MacBook Pro. The issue is it is not turning on. We are going to diagnose it all in real time, fix it, and reassemble it if possible. And without further ado, let's get started. So on our overhead cam, we got our board. And the first thing we're gonna do is turn on our power supply. Let's see if we have a power supply software. Is it this? No. I am actually not prepared for this. Anyway, I'll just tell you guys what I am getting when I turn this on. Wait, does it show up? It doesn't. Crap. There's no button for this. Aha. I haven't streamed in so long. I don't know what any of these buttons do. I don't know how Lewis is set up.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Oh, I manually turned it on.
Well, we gotta connect it first. Oh, start. That's what it is. There you go.
Awesome. So if I plug this in, and it'll read what it's doing. Okay. So. When we plug in this MacBook, we do not have a light in the charger. Now, what do we do when we don't have a light in the charger? We start with, do we have our 342_G3 hot rail? Because that is the rail responsible for giving a green light in the charger. Without that, there will be no green light, and we can measure it, and we get 0.6 volts. That's far from 342. So we're going to measure, is this line shorted to ground? And yes, we have a 2.3 ohm short to ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this device, see if we can find any liquid damage or damaged components, and try to fix it. Remove our camera, backlight connector, LCD, cable, while unscrewing some things. Kill two birds with one stone. And this thing really doesn't want to come off the board now, does it? There we go. Okay, I think I'm getting the hang of things. Things are starting to flow smoothly. We can start actually streaming. So we're going to remove our board. Still have the microphone connected. Oopsie. And now with the board removed, we can move forward with finding out what the issue is. So upon visual inspection, see if there's any corrosion. And it looks like I found our culprit. We go over to our microscope. You can see that there is some liquid damage in this area. And I want to open up the schematic to see if that is a line that we should be concerned about. So we go to our schematics. Logic board is at 3332. And okay. So that part of the board is right next to the USB, which is this guy, Thunderbolt connection. Alright, so this does not look like it runs off. Oh, it does. Does it? No. Well, in case it does, let's see if removing it fixes our issue. Be gone, Cap. Alright. Is our 3v3 still shorted? Nope, still shorted. Okay, that was not the issue. That was just a Hail Mary. Alright, let's see what else on this board has some liquid, if any. And the worst case is we're going to start injecting voltage. It's refurbished. Nope, looks like that was the only area that was liquid damaged, and that doesn't seem to be our issue at hand.
Wire for thermal cam if you...
Oh.
You could actually use thermal cam back
Oh,
here.
I was gonna ouchie test.
If you want a thermal cam. Just be careful with the screen capture.
How do I... How to change this voltage?
You have to do it up there, yeah. You have to do it on the software.
On software?
Yeah.
I could just change this manually.
I don't know how it works. Oh, you just set it to 1 volt.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Good. Awesome. Okay. That's good. Alright, so does this work if I press U? Yep. Alright, so we're gonna turn the output off for now. Right? Yep, output is off. We're gonna inject 1 volt into our 3v3 and see if we can find what is getting hot on this logic board. Do that. We're gonna add some solder onto this end piece. Right, and we get our wire. Alright, it's on there. And if we turn on our power supply, we will be drawing 500 milliamps, which should be enough to find out what is getting hot. Now, normally we would have a thermal cam, but Lewis's setup does not have that on here. So what we're going to do is something called the ouchie test, where we apply our hand on the logic board, try to find a hot spot on the logic board. Now, if we can't find it immediately, we just crank up the voltage a little bit more, which we do maybe. Is 2 volts too much? 1.2. That should be enough. Let's see. Anything? So this area is getting pretty warm. I wonder if I apply alcohol, we'll get something steaming. So it looks like this area right here seems to be getting hot, but it doesn't seem to be on this side of the logic board.
Do you think we drop the stream if I open thermal cam?
I don't know. I don't think I need it. I think I found what I'm looking for. You can see this little spot dries up almost instantly. So if I flip the board over and there's nothing here. Okay, I might need thermal cam.
Yes, you can show it.
Ow! Fuck! Ah! Owie test!
You can show it on thermal cam if you want.
I found my issue. I found my issue. Oh, my finger. Pure owie test. Never fails. Which one is it, though?
That's not it.
It burned me.
You're not taking any more amperage.
Oh, I dropped ground because I jumped. Alright, let's apply alcohol. Alright, right here. See that? Sorry, it's even smoking. You know how hot that has to be? And board's fixed. And if I inject voltage, you see that we're having only 0.2, 0.0. No, not even. We're getting nothing. No more amperage draw. Ah, my finger.
Oh, for the rest of the day, thermal cam works.
Yay.
You just have to do the display capture.
Okay. Alright, we found the culprit. Happens to be this cap right next to the SMC. Really hard to notice with the naked eye, but if I spent some more time with the microscope, I probably could have caught that before resorting to injecting voltage. So we're just going to heat up this area so I can remove this edge bonding from the SMC. That'll give us a clear path to that pad so we can rebuild it. Alright. Just going to do a little bit more scraping. And theoretically, if I were to plug this in right now, this MacBook should be turning on. So that's what I'm going to show right now. I'm just going to remove the the injection probe that I put on. Go back to our overhead. I'm going to change our voltage back to 18. Alright, and I don't have a plug. Darn. Alright, so if I were to plug in this logic board, we should be taking 1 amp and our fans should be spinning. Oh, it didn't update. There we go. Boom. Not boom. There we go. Have a green light. 1 amp. Fan spin. Board almost fixed. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean or replace the 2 components that we knocked off the board. And this MacBook should be good as new. So go back to our microscope. You can see this area of the board. We're going to clean that up. And so far we're 1 for 2 with MacBooks. Let's go. Add some fresh solder, clean up these pads. There we go. I'm just going to grab our donor board. Ah, crap. I do not have a matching donor board. Shoot. Alright, I'll be right back, guys. I gotta grab the proper donor board. I have a 2015 that I was using, but the components are not the same.
Yo, you want poker wings?
Okay, got my donor board. Let's try again. So I'm just grabbing the capacitor right now off screen. Okay, so Cometel's, the reason why we use donor boards is the simple fact, Lewis does say this a lot in his videos, why don't you just use a resistor book, surface mount components that you buy. The thing is, give me a second, let me put that on there. Alright. So, I need to know the value of that capacitor. What that means is I have to go to my computer, I have to open up my schematic and board view, I have to find out where on the board is that component, I have to look it up, see it, gotta right click it, then I gotta go to where it is. Ah, yeah, C961601, 0.01 microfarads, 10%, 50 volts, 402. Then I have to I have to get up. I have to walk over here. I gotta find the book that I need. I gotta open it up, find that I don't have that value. I go get mad. When I can just grab a donor board, has everything I need right on there. You know? And then I have to do that again and again and again for every component that broke off this board. That is just a huge waste of time when I can just, you know, grab a donor board that has everything I need. Because now that I replaced that cap, I have to go to the other cap that I removed, and I have to find out its value, what book it's from, and then say that I need to replace a chip. I have to find out what chip that is, where to get it, do I have it in stock. Again, the donor board has all the chips and capacitors you could possibly need. So I'm just going to spruce up the pads on this. Sorry for the little rant, but that's how Lewis says it in his videos. I'm just branching off what he does. Alright, so this capacitor is in a peculiar spot because I don't want to apply too much heat where I refill the SMC. So I might hand solder it on there. Actually, yeah, I might as well just hand solder it. And if you were to buy, I think a resistor book online alone is like maybe $10 to $30. I'm not sure how much they actually are, because I don't buy them personally. But you would have to stock up on so many little pieces that you're probably never gonna use. Like, you can use the common values like 10 kiloohms, 100K, 0, but like you'll get the book filled with like 4.2K, and you'll never find use for that. Also, yeah, on some MacBooks they do have weird resistor readings like 9.1K, and you have to, you know, you can't really find that on a book. It's not that common, you know. All right, so I'm gonna hand solder this on because I don't want to touch my SMC in any way, which is fine. We're gonna go that route. Just gonna touch one side with the iron, and then I could touch the other side with the iron now that it's soldered in place. One, and touch it up one more time. Good as new. Now I'm gonna UC this board because it had signs of liquid damage, and I want to make sure that, you know, it's not damaged at all. And lastly, because this is a 2012 15-inch, we have to address U8900. Look at that Apple rubber. Don't you just love it? Wouldn't that fix all your issues if you just slap a piece of shoe rubber on it? Just gonna apply some alcohol so that adhesive comes right off. No one wants shoe rubber on their MacBook. That's not a fix. So we're going to apply some flux on the edges, and we're going to fix it proper. Just like filing your nails, you just touch upon the edges with some fresh leaded solder, and you shouldn't have this issue for the next maybe couple of years or so. Because even though you do have leaded solder, it does still come desoldered from the board by the way it flexes. But this will make sure that... Oh, I just moved some caps. Typical Anel stream. I've never had that happen to me up until I got live on camera. They just uncooperative today. Oh, jeez. There we go. That's just how things go around here. Alright, now that that's fixed, we can reassemble this computer, and I'll show you that it boots, turns on, works just fine. Alright. Back to the overhead cam. Grab our board. We're going to clean out the fans. There is some... Be sure to check on... Open up your MacBook, check up on your fans. You could really... You don't really need this much dust in your computer. So we're going to plug in this machine. Wiggle it into place. Oh, I gotta get this in. It's not in view for you guys. Sorry about that. All right. The battery from underneath here. Some other stuff from underneath here. Trackpad. Now, normally we don't show you us reassembling it because it's not enjoyable. Most of the time it's just a loading screen. Also, it's kind of redundant because I have to UC the board afterward. Yeah. Alright, I'm just going to show you it turns on. And then I have to take this board apart and UC it. So I'm just going to plug in the essentials so you guys can get a view of what's going on. Alright, so we're going to plug it in. And we do have our fan. We had one fan. Oh, there we go. Alright, just had some stuff in it. So it is turning on. And we're going to get a question mark folder any second now. In 3, 2, 1. Question mark. Question mark. Question mark. Question mark. Let's go. Alright, and that's about it. That's all she wrote. Alright, gonna have this board UC'd, tested, and the customer should be happy with their working MacBook. I gotta put everything together for reassembly. There's SSD and all that good stuff. Okay, 1 for 2. Alright, and that was a A1398 with a short on 3842. I wasn't able to find it immediately, but when I resorted to injecting voltage, I showed that you can find it just by using your hands. I wouldn't recommend it. Sometimes you could just pour some alcohol on the board and you'll see what is getting hot. But if you pass the AOE test, like I did, you should be able to fix your own MacBook. And as always, I hope you guys learned something. Stop recording, and let's move on to the next one. Thank you. I do like my hair. It's very shiny. Alright, we do have 3 more, and I can probably get some more boards. This is going to be a live stream all day. I'm going to be fixing MacBooks, or attempt to. Again, I'm looking at them blind, so I don't know what is repairable, what's not repairable. Hello? What is that? Peppa food. Some type of food? Don't. What are those? Do you have a Sharpie? It almost has my name on it. So close. Alright. I haven't eaten anything yet, and I probably should, but I'm gonna keep streaming. Thank you for whoever gave it. And I think it was JP, because he was talking about donuts. Yes, I would ultrasonically clean the board. You take it apart, put it in, because it did have liquid damage on it. I don't know what other components might be damaged, but it should get cleaned. But you can't really show that on camera, because one, it is a 1 hour process of cleaning the board and then drying it out after. So we're not gonna do it on the stream. I could get it started and come back to it, I guess, but maybe for another time. Actually, no, I could probably do that. I'm going to do that, actually. Yeah. Since I'm here all day, I might as well. So, how to ultrasonic clean your board. First, you're gonna take it apart. This should be a little segue into the next repair. Alright, so first things first, you want to remove everything that can be removed from the logic board, because you're only interested in cleaning the logic board. You don't need to clean the Wi-Fi card or I will dust out the fans, but you can't really ultrasonic clean a fan because you might ruin the bearings or something like that. Ah. Ooh, that wasn't good. I might have stripped that screw. It was not cooperating. Maybe there's something inside it. Yeah. Nope, I stripped that screw. Oh, I'll get a new one, replace that. See if I can get this off first, though. Remove the fans. See if I can wiggle it with the board. There we go. Yeah, some screws they get too tight, or there's some stuff in between them where they become hard to remove. Alright, so now that we have the board out, we removed everything that contains the board, like the fans, all that stuff. You want to remove as much thermal paste as you can. If you do own an ultrasonic cleaner, this is what is making the water brown and dirty. also becomes slimy if you see it without the stuff. Just want to reach. So I'm just gonna wipe off all that off camera because I'm wiping it right over a trash can. That way it just falls right in. I don't want it getting on my desk because if it gets on your hand and it goes on your clothes, it's a real big pain. Alright. So now that most of the thermal paste is removed, I'm just going to go ultrasonically clean the board and hang it to dry while I move on to the next MacBook. Alright. I just went to ultrasonically clean the board and grab myself a drink for the muffin I'm about to eat. So I'm just going to clean off the heatsink so when I get the board back I can, save some time since it's already done. Alright, and we're going to grab all the pieces and leave it with the machine for now as we move on to the next MacBook. And food intermission. Thank you for the cruffin. I guess that's what they're called. Croissant muffin. It does smell amazing. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I can say. And I can't close this with one hand. JP, thank you. No, we don't use alcohol to UC the board. It's a combination of distilled water and Branson ultrasonic cleaning solution. Because it is heated to around 60, I think, yeah, around 60 to 70 degrees Celsius. If you use IPA, it would evaporate and cause harmful gas or some shit like that. Are they really from Yugo? It's it has like, what is that called? Sugar on it, which is like a Yugo thing. We put sugar on like our crepes and all that stuff. But I've never had a Balkan croissant before. Oh no. Oh no. You guys gonna make me fat? What's going on?
Yay, JP!
Eat a donut live.
Minis? Look at the cute little mini donuts.
Paul. Little bits. Put that shit in your mouth, you fucking... Alright. Little Rick and Morty humor there. Thank you, JP. They're really good. But I will not be deterred. There are MacBooks that need fixing, not donuts that need eating. Wait. You think I could get a sponsorship by, like, leaving this right here? Focus. There we go. Sponsored by Rockstar. Okay, let's not do that because they're not sponsored and I don't want to give them. This is not my channel. I can't do sponsorships. Alright, let's move on to the next MacBook. Which one? I choose this one. Wait, no, this hasn't been opened before. That'll be a surprise. I think it's this one. Yeah, let's try this one. Game face. Start recording. One sec. Let's start this. Oh shit. Okay. Hey everyone. Today I'll be working on a 1502 MacBook Pro 13-inch. The issue is it is not turning on. Let's open it up and figure out what's going on. We're going to do this all in real time for you to see how we are able to diagnose and fix a MacBook. So go to our overhead cam. This MacBook is from 2013. We're going to remove our peripherals, so if, say, the trackpad or keyboard or I/O board is not making it turn on, it should turn on now, but since it is not, it was diagnosed as a logic board related issue, and it's turning on. Why are you turning on? You're not supposed to turn on. That's why you're here. You weren't turning on when the customer was here. Are you a little camera shy? Green light. 500. Chime. You chimed. Backlight? No backlight. Because the lid was closed, let's turn it on again. So you turn on, you chime, you have backlight, and there's your Apple logo. Cool. Let's see if there was anything wrong with the logic board. This happens from time to time. Sometimes MacBooks just not turn on, and when you don't touch them for a bit, they turn back on. It's as if nothing was wrong with it. So, let's open it up, figure out if there is anything wrong with it, and if not, test it out. You. There does not seem to be any liquid damage. But let's look under a microscope, because I said that last time, and there was liquid damage. We're going to start from the top left and work our way down. So, it does have a bug issue. That's the carcass of one, I think. That's what it looks like. That's not going to deter us from moving forward. This looks fine. That looks fine. Alright, so I guess it could have been like some dirt or debris on this logic board that was causing it not to turn on, or am I missing something crucial? Clock chip, that's just dust. It could have bridged some things, maybe, possibly. I might just hit this board with some compressed air if I don't see anything wrong with it. And by the looks of things, this looks really clean. Clean being relative to liquid damage, not clean as in it is dusty as shit. Alright. JTAG? Clean. That does look a little discolored, but that's not really liquid damage. That's like bug corrosion or something. But it has to do with image and not power. So, not sure why this wasn't turning on before. Yeah, looks like it just needs some compressed air. I'll be right back. Do that real quick. Alright. So I'm back. I hit the entire board with compressed air. It looks a lot better. Microscope. Even the fan is really clean. Nothing going on there. Board doesn't have any more junk on it. A nice blast from our air gun at 30 psi cleaned out all the dirt. So since this board is turning on, I'm just gonna put it back in its housing and test it out. Alright, and now that we have everything plugged in, put this fan back on. And the machine does seem to still be turning on. It just chimed. It's charging the battery. I'm just gonna plug in my external boot drive and see if we find any issues with their keyboard or trackpad or battery, because it's not logic board related. I don't know how I can get this to show on stream. Huh. Their trackpad seems to be sticky. It doesn't click as well. Let's see if I can fix that. Oh, that was not a good sound. Their trackpad screw is really stuck on there, and that's like what dictates, you know, how easy it is to click. I'm just gonna, I need more force on this. Click. That really does not want to click. No. Nah, does not want to budge, and I don't want to strip it. Oh well, he's gonna live with a slightly unclickable trackpad. So we're gonna boot into our external drive. We're gonna see what our battery is. Okay, so battery life is pretty bad. It's at around 65%. He has 1,500 cycles. So we're gonna recommend him a new battery. But since there's nothing wrong with his logic board, he can we're gonna either not charge him or ask him if he wants a battery replaced. Other than that, we're gonna check out if everything else works, like webcam. Say hi, stream. That's you guys right there. Oh, you have a little sheep in the top. Hey, let's go. I run a GPU test and see how our temperatures are. Alright, operating at 80 degrees Celsius, which is normal for a MacBook. 91, getting kind of hot. 98. If you peak at 100, then I should probably replace the thermal paste. Considering this MacBook is about 8 years old, I don't think he's ever replaced this thermal paste before. We should do it for him. Yeah, it seems to be operating normal. Fans are kicking up higher now. Well, everything looks about right. Lastly, we just want to check if the keyboard is working. Sound works fine. And all his keys do seem to be functional. Yep. Alright, so that's usually what we do to test the machine, and everything seems to be in order. Except for the battery, which is starting to say service recommended. Other than that, I'm just going to close up his device. And we will email him about his machine. Apparently, it wasn't turning on when he came in. But that happens a lot. So we are 1 for 3 on fixed MacBooks. I mean, this one counts as a no fix because there's nothing wrong with it. We still got plenty of more to go, so tune in. I seem to be missing a screw. Hey. There it is. Haha. Right, close the battery up, make sure everything is connected before we close it up, and I forgot these 2 screws. Connected, all good, yep, and we're done. Alright, kind of uneventful. Oh wait, what am I doing? We gotta ask the customer if he wants a battery. I don't need to close this up completely, because if he wants it, then, you know, I just waste both of our times. I'm out of magnets too. Yay. Alright. So with that, I'm just gonna give this to Kevin to contact the customer, and we'll go from there. Pretty uneventful. Let's move on to the next MacBook. Camera. Little intermission. Let's read chat. I did forget to replace the thermal paste, but I'll do that when we update the ticket. Hello, stream. If you're just tuning in, I'll be streaming all day, fixing MacBooks, just for you guys, you know. Let's see. I got 2 more lined up. Yeah, 2 more lined up, and then I could grab more if needed. We're only at 2:15. We've done 3 MacBooks so far, so 3 every 2 hours. Still a lot of more MacBooks to go. Let's grab another one. So. What year are you? 2013 as well. Alright, let's start recording. And let's wait, did you choose this line of work or did it choose you? It kind of chose me. The way I found Lewis was I was an engineering student in college. I was in maybe my 3rd or 2nd and a half year, maybe. I'm not too sure. And the thing was, I was learning power electronics, and we were learning about boosts and buck converters, and I had no idea what was going on in that class. So I got recommended a Louis Rossmann video, and he explained everything so easily that I just understood immediately, and that's how I just YouTube algorithm recommended me, and I started watching him. Then I kept watching him, and I'm like, oh, I know what's going on. I could follow along. And then he posts, hey, you're hiring. I'm like, I could probably do this. And that's how it all started. Okay, let's get this show on the road. Hey everyone, today I'll be working on a 1502 MacBook Pro 13-inch. The issue is it is not turning on, so let's open it up and see what's going on with it. So we have our MacBook here. It's fully disassembled, so someone has, diagnosed what was the issue. So what we're gonna do is we are going to plug it in, but I do not have my charge port. There we go. Aha. Always prepared. So when we plug this in, we get a green light. Oh, it just almost turned on there. Right? $500, fan spinning, continuously spins, but it takes a second to turn on. Oh, there we go. Okay. So now it is taking 200, 100 milliamps. So it seems to be cycling constantly, but it does turn on sometimes, right? Wrong. Okay, now it's just steadily not turning on at all. It's a weird one. Let's see, one more time. 3, 2, 1. And turns on, doesn't turn on. It's in purgatory. It wants to turn on, but it's not turning on. Okay, let's go to our microscope and see if we can find an issue with the logic board. So again, we're going to start at one corner and work our way to the other. Alright, again, this one is also pretty dusty. These are from 2013, so it's not uncommon to see a dusty MacBook. So now, as you can see, we do have some corrosion on a test point, but however, because that is a test point, it is not concerning at the moment. That's not what's causing our issue. But that is a clear indication that there is some liquid on the device. There is some discoloration on one of the pins of this sleep sensor, but that could also be dust, and I can't find it. There it is. That shouldn't cause no power, and that's probably dust that's just kicked on there. See, a little alcohol could clean that up. Yep, that does not seem to be the cause of our issues, as it is soldered on still. Looks fine after a Q-tip. So let's keep going down. Usually liquid likes to build up on these edges. Again, these are just probe points, so they don't really go any, they don't really cause no power. At our PP bus MOSFET, ISL. Is this ISL? Yeah. Okay. Looks pretty clean relative to liquid damage, not because it is dusty. 342 area looks fine. BIOS. That doesn't look too bad. SMC does have some liquid damage. That could also cause our no power issue. However, it does not seem to be on any components. However, there is, again, an indication that liquid has been in this area. Oh, well, I take that back. Under all this dust, there are 2 resistors that seem to have just broken off by me touching it. Yeah, okay. So one resistor was connected on there, as you see the 2 pads, but the other one that was ripped off, its pads were corroded to the point where it wasn't making connection to the board. As you see, I would have to scrape in order to see its pads. Actually, this is missing its pad altogether. So that's one area that we are concerned about, but we're going to keep moving along with the board and see if that is the only thing that is wrong with our logic board. I'm going to Q-tip this up a bit. Yeah, as you can see, this pad was completely destroyed. It's corroded to the point where it's actually eating into the layers of the board. So I'm gonna have to see where that comes from. I'm gonna check out this resistor because there is some crud on it. Give it a little push, a nudge. Yeah, it doesn't come right off, but I should have replaced it anyway. I was going to replace it anyway. Alright, so we're just going to move on from there. We're going to keep a note that this part of the board was damaged, and we'll fix that soon. We're going to move down, see what else we can find. There's some crud here, but I'm not sure if that's ruining the board, as this could make connection to this, so this isn't really important. And it's just dirt that trolled me. 5-volt regulator. Has a bug carcass. Clock chip just has dirt. CPU regulator thingies. You know, I'm not sure exactly what these chips are, but they do have to do something with CPU. You don't have to know everything, but it helps that you do. You could also look it up in the schematic. But it doesn't look like these are concerning. It did have some liquid on it, but not enough to warrant board repair in this area. So there's just a bunch of random bits of corrosion on this board that we are going to have to address. Right here you can see there is some green stuff. I believe this is our CPU regulator. This could be the 1-volt regulator. I'm not too certain. But again, there is corrosion there. But it looks like a reflow or just a Q-tip might solve that issue as well. Can't really see with all that dirt, that's why I Q-tipped it off. And I might have to remove the chip because you can see there is some crud right here. And this machine is acting like it is brain dead sometimes, so this might be the cause of our no power issue. Moving along, we have our 1-volt regulator, I think. Or is this one of them's a CPU regulator, one of them's a 1-volt regulator. Both of them are equally just as important. I just forget which one's which sometimes. There we go here. Ooh, we have a burnt capacitor. Not burnt, but probably eroded, corroded, super smaroded. And its pad is completely gone from the board. You have the first pad, and then the second one, which is just not there. I have to do some digging to see if the pad is even salvageable, but it looks like there's just a small hole in the board. Might have to run a jumper. We'll keep that in mind as we move on. We have corrosion all around this chip. Problem with this one is its legs are the same size as the chip, so you can't really inspect it. You would have to take this chip off, which even a Q-tip isn't removing any of the corrosion. So I'm gonna remove it, see if it looks fine underneath, and if not, I'll replace it. Alright, so we do have like 4 troubling spots on this logic board that we're gonna have to correct before trying to turn this on, which is great. We actually have a repair on our hands. Alright, so I'm just gonna start off with that chip that we saw and work our way backwards, forwards. I'm gonna start off by removing said chip. Alright, just about to melt, and I can pull it off. Alright, now you see, I couldn't see that it was missing pins. All you could have seen was there was just corrosion on the edges of this chip. As you see, this is not making any contact with the board, and we're going to open our schematic and see what that chip is responsible for. So we're going to open up a 1502 2013 logic board. Rotate. Oh, jeez. Alright. So this chip, which is right here, is responsible for 3v3 sus, or PM rem something. Something to do with an, let's see. Just sus output voltages, I guess. Which I believe P good, let's see. Oh, it's just power for the PCH, which is understandable that it is brain dead without this chip. Something like that. So what we're gonna do is go back to our microscope. We're gonna scrape away at the corrosion, try to revive those pads, and if we can, good. If we can't, gotta run some jumpers. So let's see if Lewis has an X-Acto around here. she doesn't, so I have to get creative and scrape, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'll scrape with some tweezers. Never scrape with tweezers. So we're just going to remove all that corrosion. Then we're going to add some fresh solder and put a brand new chip right on there. Not brand new, certified refurbished from a donor board. Hello. He's going to punch me because I'm scraping with tweezers.
You never scrape with your tweezers.
Ah.
What don't you ever do?
They're not my tweezers.
You never scrape with your tweezers.
They're not my tweezers. Ow.
What do you never do?
Paul, stop. Thank you. Alright, so we're gonna be scraping with our knife and try to get those pads nice and clean. Okay. Alright, let's add some flux back on the point. Oh, jeez. Uh-oh. Alright, so we're gonna add some solder onto said pads, which they look like they're all intact, which is good. Alright, fresh solder on every pad, and we're gonna wick the excess. That's a lot of excess. Oh. Okay. That pad just left chat. And that pad doesn't even go anywhere, so I guess that's why it's gone. Alright, so we're gonna grab a donor board and put a new chip on. Let's see. There we go. Alright, new chip on. Let's move on to the next concerning area. Right here with this cap. Get that out of there. Alright, let's find out what this cap is for and how important it is. It's right above there, which is there. There, PP3V3SO. Alright, so we are going to omit this. Not only because it is missing a pad, but it's just a coupling capacitor that for 3v3SO that is not needed for the logic board because there's so many of them. If I could find an easier way to solder this back on, I'll try that, but for now we're just going to ignore it. Move on to the next troubling spot, which was our 1-volt regulator, I think. You know what, let me find out. No more thinking. Only use me brain. Yeah, this is the CPU regulator. Alright. So this either needs to be replaced or resoldered. But I don't know because I can't see the pads underneath, so I'm just going to lift it up, see how it is, put it back down if it looks good. And it looks good, so I'm going to put it back on. Whoa, okay, hold on. Alright, solder it. Add some flux so it'll flow into place. And once it's flown into place, I can press down on it. And then we address the small bubbles that came out. Looks good. Next area and our final one, our SMC. We had 3 resistors that flaked off due to corrosion. Let's see if we can get that fixed. Alright, let's go to... oh no. Back to our board view, we find out what those stuff are. These 2 resistors, they're 10K. This looks like just some iSense stuff. 0, and you are 100K. Alright, and so we have our donor board. I'm gonna drag and drop our old caps to the new caps. I mean resistors, yeah. Whoa. shoot. Okay. I don't want to directly heat my SMC because it still has its edge bonding on. And I don't want to accidentally reflow it. But just in case, I'm going to remove its edge bonding. That way, if it does get reflown, I don't have to reball it. Go. Alright. So, I'm going to put that resistor back on. Needs flux. A lot more flux. What? Ah. I can't hear you, I'm sorry. What happened? Oh.
This is what you've been outputting for the last 5 minutes.
Oh, that's fun. That's great. Thanks for letting me know. They don't know that I'm royally screwing everything up. Oops. Alright, so I was just putting these resistors back on the board, as you can see. That's one, that's two. Third one is missing a pad. So I'm gonna have to run a jumper. That's not the end of the world. Ah. Oh crap, I lifted it too early. Oops. There we go. Some more flux. Heat so it flows like that. And I could properly run a jumper from 342, which goes to those bottom caps. Alright, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do a little something. I'm gonna move this resistor down so I could run a jumper to those caps on the right. And where did the resistor go? Hey. Hey. Where'd he go? He's not on my flux, is he? No. Hello? There you are. Come here, mofo. Alright, we have that one soldered on. Now we could run a wire from the bottom of these caps to that resistor. There we go. I'm just gonna break these off. Alright, so now we should have a board that is turning on. Just gonna let this cool off for a moment. Hopefully our SMC hasn't been reflown or damaged. Let's grab our charge port. Rapid cool done. And we're gonna plug this in. Something wrong. Is it Lewis's charger? Okay. So now, last time it was not consistently being like 800 to 600 milliamps, which means it's turning on. Before it would stay at like 200, 300, but now it seems like it is consistently turning on. Alright, board fixed. Now, before I throw this into UC, I want to make sure that this has no chance of ever shorting out in the future. So I'm just going to grab a Q-tip and clean that off and then green it, if Lewis has some green stuff. I don't see any green stuff. So what I'm doing here is trying to remove as much flux as I can, because this needs to stick onto the logic board. The green stuff that I'm about to put on the conformal coating. Which is better if I just UC the board first. I think this is fine. Yep. Oh, you don't have the microscope, sorry. Alright, so I was just cleaning that area from the flux so I can add some green stuff, which Lewis has around here somewhere, I just know it. I know you have it. He doesn't have it. I'll be back. Alright. So, some green stuff here. That way this doesn't have a chance to ever short if liquid falls on it, or if, you know, I don't know, if another cap tries touching it or something like that. So now this wire is protected, should be fine, and this MacBook should be ready to go. Alright, move everything aside, get his computer out here. And I will take it apart and you see the board, but I just want to see if this is turning on and booting. Alright, shoot, I have the keyboard backlight. There we go. What a troll. So really, we only need the screen plugged in to get an Apple logo. And of course the charge port, because, you know, it has to run off charger. And I'll plug this in just to hold the board in its casing so it doesn't fall off when I lift it up like this. So one more time, it's gonna turn on. We got 800 milliamps. Speaker's not plugged in, so I'll chime for you. Boom. And we should get an Apple logo on our screen right about now. We're not getting anything on screen. Why are we getting nothing on screen? Hello? Is there more wrong with the machine? There might be more wrong with the machine. Let's see if it works with a test screen. Alright, so sometimes they also have a bad screen cable. It is not uncommon for this model to have it, but hopefully it is not, and I did not just waste 45 minutes fixing a dead CPU. Or PCH, or something around those lines. Click. click. Fan spin. We have backlight. We have Apple logo. Alright, let's confirm one more time that he may have a display cable, or maybe I'm just dumb. One or the other. Because it is quite possible I might be dumb. Okay, cable looks fine. Lift this up, hold it. I do read both YouTube and Twitch chat. If you guys message, they both show up at the same time. I just don't read it as often because I'm trying to get a MacBook to... Okay, no, I'm just being trolled. What is this sorcery, bro? Ah! So anyway, that was a liquid damage 1502. It was causing brain dead some stuff. Some chips were missing its pads. Some resistors were missing its pads. Anyway, in the end, it ended up turning on just fine. I don't know why it didn't display image for the first time. It was kind of weird. But hopefully that doesn't happen again. Kind of strange. But, you know, the board's fixed. Apple's just trying to troll me. You know how it be. So I'm just going to go clean this logic board, reassemble it, test it, make sure everything else is running fine. And as always, I hope you guys learned something. Thank you for tuning in. I will continue streaming, but this video is over. We're 2 for 4. 2 for 4, I guess. Yeah. 2 for 4. Well, 3 for 4. The third one was already turning on, though. Alright, where's the fixed working pile? Aha. Getting lost in MacBooks. Let's continue the streak. I should throw that other board in the oven. Doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Because I didn't. Let's go. Next MacBook. I gotta clean the desk. Wait. So if you guys are still tuning in, this is the Anel-a-thon, where I'll be fixing MacBooks all day. Not every day, though. This might be my last stream ever, if Lewis gets a hold of me. Yes, Cam. All day. There's no sleep. There's only MacBook. Let's get this show on the road. Alright, let's see. Are you 2015? You feel like a 2015. Alright. Hey everyone, today I'll be working on a 1502 2015 MacBook Pro 13-inch. I do not know what is going on with the machine. It has come here for no power. I have not opened it yet, so we're going to go into this blind, diagnose everything in real time, and fix it in real time. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. We're going to open this MacBook. Don't jinx me, it's not a cracked PCH, you can't even see it. Click. Alright, so there is liquid on the battery. Still sticky. Tastes like coffee. Okay, why does this happen constantly? Alright, so what we're gonna do is remove the battery and hopefully, let's see what happens when we plug it in. 0.06. That's not turning on voltage. We do have a green light in the charger, so we're going to measure our PP bus first, which seems to be 5 volts and continually going down. So what we're going to do is open up the machine and see what's going on with our PP bus circuit. Sorry, I was having some technical difficulties with our light behind me. Alright. Lewis is currently on the highway back to hell. What? Okay, let's see. Oh, I saw this comment. I forgot to talk about it. Someone's mentioning, like, aren't my rings conductive? Won't you kill the logic board like that? The thing is, I don't work on boards that have power running through them. So, because the battery's unplugged and, the charge is I could ground this as much as I want, and it's not gonna do anything, because it's not plugged in. And if it were plugged in, I wouldn't have my hands on the machine anyway, you know? Anyway, back to the repair. What if lightning strikes? Then I'm fucked. Alright, with the machine out, we can flip it over and see that nothing seems liquid damaged. Alright. Put the board aside. And let's get a good view of our PP bus circuit. Now, I'm not sure if that is liquid or that could be just, I don't know, maybe the chip shit itself. That looks weird. That's not really common. But what I'm gonna measure is our current sense and make sure that's in order before I plug this in again and see if it is our ISL at fault. Because again, it could be something external ruining the board. So now that everything's unplugged, we can plug this in again, and we see that our board is turning on. Alright. Now with that turning on, we can inspect the board one more time to make sure that there isn't any liquid damage on it. But it doesn't look like there was any. This board does look pretty clean, except for the liquid that got onto the battery. And maybe it's the battery that is causing our issue. Compared to the last one, this board is as clean as a whistle. Except for this one crumb that's on there. Oh, I just got a donation chute. I didn't see it in time. Let's see. Let me go back to that, I'm sorry. Alright, thought of you too when I saw a fancy vegan cookie shop in Columbus. Oh, I was essentially refused service because I was not wearing a mask. What? Do what you with your diet. Vegans are silly. Oh, I guess that was for Lewis and not for me, because I'm not a vegan. Sorry, I'm not too good at streaming. I'll try to get to every donation as possible, but I gotta see them first. But I'm not looking up as often as I should be. My apologies. Alright, so I'm just gonna go plug this guy's machine back in his casing, because his machine does not look like it is liquid damaged on the logic board. Ah, okay. Yeah. So upon further inspection, it seems that his trackpad is corroded, and that is probably what is causing the no power issue. So in a second, when I get everything out here, I'm going to show you guys. If I were to plug this in, we have 500, 600, that's about turning on voltage. If I were to plug in his trackpad, I should have this still turning on. Alright, never mind, I take that back. It seems that his battery and trackpad is what took the full force of his coffee. This is really sticky and gross. Ew. The things I gotta go through. So he would most likely need a new trackpad. There's no shot in hell that this MacBook would work with this trackpad plugged in. Is this burned or is that just coffee? Seems to be both burn and coffee. You see the corrosion just coming along with it. Yeah, he's gonna need a trackpad. As for the battery, it is expanding, so we would recommend it get replaced. But let's see if it is working. So go back to overhead. If I plug in his battery and plug in the board, we can measure PP bus, and if it's not 12.56, then he has a working battery. 12.7. So this battery is charging. Let's see. Stays at 12, 11. Yeah, his battery does seem to be functional, but it is jumping around a lot, so he should probably get it replaced. We'll clean it up and we'll let him know, but he definitely needs a trackpad replacement. Since this is not logic board related, my job here is done. I just needed to find out what was wrong with this MacBook. So, unfortunately, since it's not logic board related, can't do anything here. Someone else will definitely replace the trackpad for him, and he should have a working MacBook. Well, we're gonna go to the next one after I get a magnet for this and bag it up. Next. Boring. Next. MacBook. This goes into the not my job pile. Oh, I'm out of MacBooks. What's up? Alright, this might be the last one. I thought I could stream all day, but I have some other duties to do. Alright, last one. This is going straight to the YouTubes, hopefully. Alright, last one. Here we go. Focus. Get all my energy out. Hoo ha. Okay. Turn this off. Beep. Hey everyone. Today I'll be working on a 1708 MacBook Pro 13-inch from 2016 to 2017. I'm not sure what is going on with the machine, but that's why it's here. We're going to open it up in real time, diagnose it, and fix it all in real time. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to open it up. Again, I've never seen this MacBook before, so I don't know exactly what's going on with it. Hopefully it's not turning on. Hopefully it's logic board related, so I have a video for you guys. The other two, I think it was two, yeah. Had two MacBooks out of the 4 that I fixed. They had nothing logic board related to them. One was a bad battery, the other one was already turning on. So hopefully we're lucky here and we have a MacBook that has a logic board related issue. So for this model, it does have a clip that I gotta slide out, and it's pretty difficult. And sometimes you end up cutting your fingers if you slide out too much. Didn't happen this time, so we're lucky. First things first, we remove the battery. That way we don't have any fluctuation in voltages, so when you're diagnosing, you know what's going on when you read what the board is taking. So we're going to plug in our device. It's going to go from 5 volts to 20 if we're lucky, and it does. But it's stuck at 0.017 amps, or 17 milliamps for short. So, because we have 20 volts in the charger, we know our 3v3_G3 hot is present. However, we got to find out if our PP bus is present. That is the next rail that comes after the RG3 hots. And with our multimeter software, we measure the fuse, and we are getting nothing on PP bus. Now, there is a couple of reasons why we don't get voltages on PP bus. The main one is to check if it is shorted, which it is. Second thing we want to check is our CPU shorted to PP bus. Because if it is, then we can just call it a day. So it doesn't seem to be shorted. Let's check our PCH. And that's not shorted as well. Alright, so we may have a repair on our hands. We're going to open up this device and see how the logic board looks on the other side. Is Lewis streaming on this channel as well? I wonder if he gets my donations and I get his. It'll be really strange. Alright, inspecting the logic board with our naked eye. We don't see any liquid damage, which is okay. So what we're gonna do is have a look under the microscope. So again, as I say in all my repairs, we start at one corner of the board and work our way to the other. So you want to look for something that looks out of the ordinary, whether it be a cracked capacitor, some liquid damage, or anything that actually just catches your eye, like a speck of dust, a bug, anything. So it doesn't seem like we're gonna get any luck here. Doesn't look like we can find what we are looking for. Alright, I guess we have to resort to injecting voltage. So my point of interest, or the place I like to solder on, not there. That would be a bad spot. Maybe over... let's see our schematic. Maybe we could find something. Zero 00840. Ah, 4NL doing great. Thank you. Want to see you doing a lot more of them. You're good at this. I am terrible at this. There is no shot that I am good at anything that I do. I have like zero experience. I don't know what people want from me. Yeah, alright, I'm just gonna solder onto here. Yep, alright. I'm gonna grab some solder. Like so. Nice little bubble. You guys didn't see any of it right there. I 100% agree with Sonia. Also pay rise in donations. Alright, I changed my power supply to 1 volt. And I'm going to be injecting 1 volt into our PP bus. There we go. And I'm going to go to our overhead cam because from here on out, being under a microscope doesn't make much sense. So now that we have PP bus here, we're going to have our ground to ground, you know, obviously. And when we turn on our power supply, we get 2 amps at 1 volt. So I'm just going to crank it down just a wee bit. Might be a little too hot for me. Maybe 0.5 would be good. Okay, 1 amp. We're going to do the owie test. Because I don't have thermal cam. So what the owie test is, you just gotta put your hand on the board But since there is power running through the logic board, I am not going to touch it directly with my fingertips. Because I have a ring on, I don't want to short any rails if I end up touching PP bus. Another way to test for voltage. Okay, so we are getting a hot spot around here. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our schematic. Why are you here like that? We go to our schematic. We have PP bus connected, showing you. So our hot spot on the board is somewhere over here, which ends up being PP bus speaker. There's these, and then there's those. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna crank up the voltage, since we know that it's not a super important rail like CPU V-Core. I could kick it back to 1 volt. And with my alcohol, I can see what gets hot. I don't need to owie test anymore. Maybe this area. Alright, seems like this capacitor is what's shorting our logic board, as if I put alcohol on it, it dries up almost immediately. Now if I were to flip over, that area is somewhere around here. Since there's no components on this side of the logic board, it definitely should be this big cap. And for those of you who are interested in finding out how hot it is, let's kick it up to 2 volts. We have 3 amps. Now this is drying up almost immediately. It even fizzles up in the heat. And if I were to touch it, passes the Yowie test. Okay, so since this capacitor is right next to a connector on the board, a plastic connector, hot air is out of the question. You should not use hot air. It is going to melt that connector. So what you can do is one of 2 things. You can try to desolder it with a with your iron, or the fancier way is just knock it off the board, like so. Of course. Alright. Now sometimes you do rip the pad off. It's not supposed to happen, but it happened. You can still fix that. So we're gonna grab our iron. We're gonna resolder this pad with some fresh solder. And we're gonna make a new pad out of the pad that we ripped. Add some flux. Alright, made a pad out of some jumper. And now we just grab a 1708 donor board. And this is where I say, do as I say and not as I do, and just desolder it with your iron. It doesn't always rip the pad, it just ripped the pad when I start streaming. I've never had this pad rip if I rip off the capacitor. See how the ground pad stayed just fine? That's what was supposed to happen with both pads. But guess what? It didn't. Because I'm live and I want to... Nah, nothing. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I just want to fix this MacBook. So you just solder that back on. And you're done. As if nothing happened. And we're gonna pretend nothing happened. Alright, and if we were to plug in this device, we would have PP bus on that cap, and I'll show you that it's working just fine. I just gotta remove my injection jumper. Alright, and back to overhead. Device plugged in. Voltage 20 volts, 600 milliamps, and the top of this cap is PP bus. So I'm going to measure the top of the cap, and we have 13 volts. Board's fixed and working. Time to reassemble it. And since it wasn't liquid damaged, I do not need to UC it, so I can reassemble this in front of you guys in real time. Hopefully it gets this up and running again, and we can send it out same day. Wow, this Wi-Fi antenna not cooperating. There we go. You know, accidents happen. As long as you're able to fix them, then did the accident really occur? I'm just going to screw everything in because I know this is going to turn on and work just fine. Just peachy keen. You know. Caleb, there is no going back. Speaking of, did you water Tim's plant? He said if he dies, it kills you. Oh boy, webcams.com. Would you guys like to see reassembling a MacBook? It's kind of tedious. Alright, everything's in. You can plug in the battery and then close it up. Ooh, that did not want to go in. Let's try again. There we go. And that iPhone guy says, get that crunch. Alright, so any second now we should get the boot up screen. And it boots. MacBook fixed. We're just gonna close up the bottom case. Then we should be all set. So that was how to fix a MacBook in real time. As you see, we were able to fully reassemble it. I could test it out. Just gonna do it off screen because I guess Lewis is streaming. I don't want this to conflict with each other. I did end up ripping the pad by mistake. I was able to fix it. You know, it's not a big deal, but you know, stuff happens. And as always, guys, thank you for tuning in. I'm gonna go eat my lunch. And I hope you guys learned something.